In this video, I'm rolling with Big Seth. He is a monster. He's a purple belt, probably has 80 pounds on me or more, and is very athletic. As usual, the plan is to relax, to survive, and not to fight every battle. Right now, he's planning to attack my near arm for an armbar, but I just keep my elbow close to my body so he can't get it. Now as he goes to attack my far arm, I just keep a lot of weight on it. So instead of just moving my arm and separating it, he just moves my entire body and I stay safe. Take a look at my left arm. I'm just monitoring his shoulder, just making sure that he cannot put too much weight on my neck with his shoulder. And right now he did grab it, but I still have enough legs between us so that he can't put too much weight on me. Now notice that I'm not pulling on his arm, I just see what he gives me. Is he giving me an elbow? Is he giving me his neck? Now he's giving me his neck. I couldn't quite finish it, but this is the idea when you work with someone who is so much stronger than you. You cannot force anything, you really need to wait and see what they give you. Now we keep going. He's gonna pass my guard, and I'm just playing a little bit safe. I keep a little bit of a heavy head on the floor, and I monitor his arms, making sure I don't get into too much stress because of his weight. Now I'm gonna freeze the frame in a second to show you what he gave me. He gave me his right elbow. His right elbow went away from his body, and I got him in this grip that's become very popular recently. These are the three important contact points. So my left arm, I'm hugging his right arm and I'm pushing his elbow up. My right elbow is underneath his chin, pushing it up. And my hands are clasping down on his shoulder, dragging it down. This gives you very good control that usually leads to a sweep. But Seth has a little bit of a bad shoulder, so it was hurting him here, and he tapped. Now, before I explain how I play guard, I'm gonna focus on this armbar that you're gonna see in a second. So notice his arm going in a little bit too deep. I grab behind the tricep, get a hold of him with my legs, and there's the tap. If you don't know this armbar, I actually found a really nice video on YouTube explaining it. I'm going to write down the link in the description. So you're welcome to go and check it out, but just don't forget to come back and watch the rest of my video. Okay, now I want to highlight a very important principle that I think about when I play guard. I'm thinking about two lines. The first line is the line from Seth's head to butt. And the second line is from my head to my butt. As the bottom player, I never want these lines to cross. So I'll keep moving Seth's head so that these lines don't cross. The top player obviously wants the opposite. So the top player wants these two lines to cross. I encourage you to pay attention to this principle when you're passing, when you're playing guard, and when you're watching fights. I think it's a real eye-opener and it can be very helpful. This is a really good option for people with short legs. Instead of going for a triangle, you can go for a teepee. I just suggest that you put your elbows right on the sides of your knees so you don't get injured with side pressure going out on your knees. Now notice as he's gonna pass my guard, I quickly recover by paying attention to that principle that I was talking about before. See, I'm pushing him to one side, pushing him to my right side. Now he's working a body lock, and I just monitor his head. And I really think about that principle again. I'm gonna get him back to guard in a second using that, pushing him to one side. See, he's in one side and I'm back to guard. Look what happens right now. He just made a mistake. He got his elbow far from his body, and that allows me to start working for that same sweep that we talked about before. And there it is, same grip as before with the arrows, and right now it leads to a sweep. And the way I keep control from the top is exactly the same principle. Notice that I make sure that our spines cross. If from the bottom, I make sure that they don't cross and I try to get them to one side of my spine, then when I'm on top, I do exactly the opposite. What does that mean? It means that I want to make sure that our spines cross. So try to notice how I really try to have myself on both sides of his spine the whole time. And now you should pay attention to the bite that I have on his elbow. See that inch of elbow that I have? I keep following it. I don't want his elbow to get away from me. And now as he grabs me, that elbow is stuck. So I can relax about it. But then as soon as he wants his elbow back, I'm gonna monitor it again. Okay, going for the back, I actually did not have very good control. He was really doing a good job staying heavy on my right hip, so that prevented me from having good control there. I did not want to squish his jaw. It's really a friendly sparring session. I'm really not looking to bruise his face to get big into a submission, so we keep going, and now you can see me trying to really focus on his arm. I had his wrist bent backwards, so I thought I could work off of that. I lost it for a second, but I did not lose his elbow, so I still have an attack going. It doesn't matter how strong the person is. If you get your entire body working against a weak joint, then that's the way to win against a strong guy. Now as we're starting over, I want to get him to attack me a little bit, so I'm kind of giving him the pass for free, and he knows exactly what to do. He grabs me, he has my hips tight between his knee and his elbow, and he starts working my far arm. You should really pay attention to his weight. So he wants to go and isolate my arm, which is a good thing, but he kind of let his weight on his legs go a little bit too light. So I'm able to dig under his legs and I'm able to put him back in the guard. Here I have pretty good control of his weight, and I have too much weight on my arm, so he's kind of forced to let that one go, and we get into a little bit of a leg lock battle. Nothing too fancy, you can see exactly what's going on. And now he wants to play some bottom guard, and I just want to hint at something that I'm doing. Notice that his body is facing to the wall. That means that I want my body to face the wall as well. You you kind of notice me doing it, try to think about it, try to play with it, and maybe I'll break it down in a future video. Now notice how he's hugging my head. He actually keeps hugging my head after I passed his guard. This is a mistake because he keeps his elbow far from his body like that. It actually gives me attacks. I actually ended up attacking the other arm, and you'll see a very similar attack to one that I did before, hunting his elbow, staying on his elbow, not letting his elbow slip away, and eventually I am able to put all my weight on that elbow and drag it back, getting the same submission I got before. And a big thanks to Big Seth. He's a great training partner. Always fun rolling with him.